See out here is you're seeing a perpendicular line just under your just under the first finger. The first finger is basically, this is the first finger. This first finger is for Jupiter, and this out here we see a uninterrupted line. Uninterrupted line is considered to be the best sign for success. It basically means that the person is going to rise up to high position in his life, and it's going to be a constant growth, and he would never fall in his position in his life, and he would always be somewhere near to power, position, administration, religion, and politics. These it can be all of them or only single. Like in some people, it's purely like religion, or they could be religious heads, or if people are working in a company or in an organization or in government, these people there's a very high, good tendency that these people rise up in their life, and high position is not something which is going to come later on. This should be a constant part in your life. This basically, you see, this line is uninterrupted. No line is crossing over, and there's no confusion kind of a line out here. So this is the best sign for success and high position in life. And this could be in the hand of politicians. This could be in the hand of administrators or business heads, or people who are working in companies, or maybe associated with government. This is the best sign to have. But apart from this particular sign, there are many more indications we have to see. This is the heart line. The heart line is basically very distinct and clear. You see, your heart line is very distinct and clear. The more the line is clear, by clear I mean that there should be no branches. These are the branches. There should be no branches over it. The second thing is the line should not be broad. If the line is broad, basically it would mean that the person is going to get stressed. But because the line is distinct and clear, you see the clarity in your line, it's deep and clear. It means that the person would be able to face challenges, and they would come out as winners always. So for them, it is advised that people with this kind of a heart line, it is advised that they should set very huge challenges in front of themselves. The bigger the challenge, the bigger the reward is going to be. So whenever we see a line like this, it would mean that the person is going to be successful whatever field they take up. It doesn't mean it could be in business, it could be in government, any place, I would say. So heart line is one of the most important lines to have, and the person on this, we see if there's detachment or not, or if the person has got attachments. Attachments sound a very good word, but it's if we see attachments, basically that's a wrong indication. Like then the person is going to be stressed up. These basically, if there are branches like this over it, these are basically meaning attachments in life, and attachments basically creates expectation, and expectation never get fulfilled. So the person gets stressed in his life, and the stress level basically takes a toll in his life, and he would not be a satisfied person. But because you don't have these lines, these branches like line on the heart line, so it is considered to be it is considered that the person is going to be successful. And smaller lines, if we have got smaller lines, very very smaller lines do not also means attachments, but they it's less significant, so we just ignore these small lines on the heart line. Apart from that, we are also seeing that there are few perpendicular lines over the Mount of Mercury. Mount of Mercury is basically indicating that the person is very good in communication, and the person is good in finances. This is the Mercury area basically represents the communication part, be it communication, or written communication, or facial communication, or any technical skills, be it mathematics, science, technology. All those things basically come under Jupiter. Even writing skills basically come under Jupiter. So if there are perpendicular lines over it, which what we see out here, we see few perpendicular lines over it. So basically, the person might have a few set of skills. Some people just have singular line over it, but you do have two or three lines. So it could mean that two or three different sets of skills. And this also makes the memory much sharper, much better, and it also makes a person a storehouse of information. If it is quite prominent, like the mount is fluffy, or the skin over this particular mount is like mountain like, yeah. So if it's very flat, then these qualities are comparatively less in a person. So you've got a fairly okay mount of Mercury, and and perpendicular lines means the person would earn through communication or finances or technical part of their life. The other aspect to see on your palm is that I see that you have crossed the age of 50. So we are just going to look at that particular age, what changes might be indicating. So this is your money line. This is the money line which is going, and this is the headline. Your headline is very unique. We are going to talk about it a little bit later on. This is the headline. This appears to be the headline, and this is the headline. So we'll just concentrate right now on the money line. So money line is starting out here. Once it touches the headline, the age is 35. Once it touches the heart line, this is the heart line, the age is 50, 51 or 55. That's the approximate age we have to refer to. So out here, what we see that the main money line is somewhat touching the heart line, and it is kind of like diminishing. So during this particular period, what's going to happen is that some major changes might take place. And like line comes, it touches the heart line, and it vanishes. You see a very faint kind of a line. Faint line gives lesser result. Firm line gives always better result. So what's happening out here is that the new money line is developing sometime at this particular age. So the age is 51 or 55 roughly. In some people it's age 51, some people it's age 55. So that's the approximate age we are going to be taking. We also see that this line is uninterrupted, and there's another line which is developing. So there are two lines over it. So there could be two changes, one sometime at the age of 51 and the other sometime at the age of 55. The same what we see indications is that this is the area of sun, the amount of sun, and what we see is that we are seeing a perpendicular line over it. Again, the perpendicular line is considered to be good, and there's another line which is developing like this. So this, at this particular age, the person is going to be much more famous, and because if the line is prominent, it basically indicates that the person would have a much more stronger career during that particular period. And you'll see that the heart line, the sun line, the career line, what we say, is quite not so prominent during this particular period. But and this period is from 35 to 50 roughly. That's the period we are referring to. And uh, we see a much stronger sunlight sometime after the age of 51. But I'll just try to be more. I just try to tell you more things about it. Like sometimes what we see is that even if we don't have a sunline out here, even then it might give great amount of results. Some many famous people don't have it, so it doesn't mean that you need to have sunlight. Only then you're going to be successful. Uh, uh, but one thing is there that we should have firm lines. Firm lines are something like this line, which is more prominent after the age of 51. And during this particular period, it is not so prominent. So when the line is either a little bit wavy or it's very dim, dim means a dim carrier, and wavy means that the person might not be able to concentrate his energies towards one particular goal. So that's why the carrier is not so good. But due to the sometimes when the line is very prominent out here, it means that the it's going to cover the whole period of one's career. So even in spite of the line being dim during the early period, it's becoming much better during the after the age of 51. But there are many more indications like this upward line over the first finger, which I talked about earlier. This basically gives us result. And even if the sun line is not good, then the Jupiter line, this is a Jupiter line, a line which originates from the headline and moves up. This basically gives very good results in our life and provides us with high position and power and administrative skills and so all these things. The other aspect to see is that you have your this is your headline, this is the headline, and this also appears to be headline. So what's happening is that you have got a very unique kind of a headline. This upward line basically is targeting towards the amount of Mercury. So the headline targeting towards the amount of Mercury is considered to be good. It basically provides a person with good skill sets. So the person is going to be much more successful. And the other line we have to refer to is if this is supposed to be your another headline. What we see out here is that this is the headline and this is the lifeline. Whenever these two lines, the headline and the head and the lifeline, are joined for a long duration of time, uh, it basically means that the person is highly cautious. It makes the person very cautious if these two are joined for a long duration of time, the head and life. It makes a person hardworking, shy, and consistent. And slow moving. They might lose lots of opportunities in life, but losing opportunity doesn't mean that they lose everything. Basically, losing opportunity means that the person is going to be more focused towards one thing compared to multiple things, and that's why the person is going to be successful. To see focus, one of the main ingredients for success, we see the heartline. Heartline, whenever distinct and clear, it means that the person is focused. If the heartline had any many branches over it, it would mean the person is flirtatious and the person would flirt with his relationship and work. But you're a person who doesn't flirt with a relationship or work, and you're very consistent and focused. So this basically is a better sign than being flirtatious and very focused, and focus brings in result in your life. We also find here that you have a supporting, this is your lifeline, there's a supporting lifeline. One supporting line ends midway, and another again develops. So this is basically supporting lifeline provides us with the ability to fight against diseases and problems in our life, and it's kind of moral, physical, or financial kind of a support you might have all throughout in your life. And this also gives us the ability to fight against all odds. And that's it for the reading. And I'll just add one more thing, that we see a very small line between the second and the third finger. This basically indicates that earning through earning through whatever education you might have had in your life, even small kind of education would have helped you. Even informal education might have helped you in your life. And a mole over the finger of sun basically means that fame, lots of fame coming to you. This is the there are three phalanges. The first phalange is basically uh, a person who, this is the first phalange. The first phalange is mental stimulation. The second is physical and practical, and the third is being a bhogi. Bhogi means user and user of things. And when we see a mole out here, so comparatively, I think name and fame would there would be lots of name and fame, and that should help you. And there's another aspect which I saw on your hand, is that you have got a Raja loop. This is a Raja loop. You see, this is a skin pattern kind of a thing. This is quite rare. If you just search the net RAJA loop, you would find more about it. It basically means that the person would be in a powerful position, and he would gain through power. And because it lies between the Saturn and the Jupiter finger, so both these mounts come into prominence. The Saturn mount is basically for materialism and responsibility and wisdom, and the Jupiter mount is basically for position in life and high position in life, and being a believer, and growth in his life. So a loop basically is a combination of Saturn and Jupiter out here. So they should be giving you a result. And in old books, it said that if you have a Raja loop, you might have people, your ancestors, who might be in high position. But I would just refer it that it's your hand, and it should apply to you. And we'll just have a look at the left hand as well. What we are seeing is that out here the life and the head are like this. So it's joined like for a very long duration. You see, this is the life and this is the head. So the duration, both of these are joined. It's joined for a very long duration. It makes a person very shy, hardworking, and a person who loses out on opportunities. But it also gives a person very good result. As I think probably the Apple inventor had this kind of a pattern, and Jennifer Aniston also has this, and so it just means that the person is going to be more successful uh, in the later part of their life. You have heard the story of tortoise and hare. So you out here, you are the tortoise, and the tortoise always wins the race ultimately. And it's one of the best signs, provided the person remains consistent in his work, and he doesn't change too often. You would notice that you don't have a money line sometime after the age of 50. But again, I would say having no money line is also a very good indication. It provides for unlimited possibilities in your life, unlimited money. And you see the head, this is the headline and this is the headline. And the headline is going a little bit backwards out here. Like the money line is originating from the headline. So this age, at the age of 35 might have been a very landmark year in your life, and it might have brought lots of success. And we also see that the amount of Venus is prominent and Mars is also okay. So Venus basically gives the energy, vitality, stamina. Mars gives us the fighting abilities. So having lesser lines over it is one of the best signs to have, that the person is able to focus their energies, and the person is able to channelize their energies much in a much better way. And these are the things which you see in palmistry for success. And that's it for now. And if you have any further questions, do write back to me. Please see the video.